The German officer steps out of the bunker at exactly 0847 hours, just like he has every morning for the past 6 days. Through your scope, you can see his face clearly. Young, maybe 25, with a photograph of a woman tucked into his helmet band. He's 400 yards away, completely unaware that death is watching him through a 4 times telescopic sight. You've been lying motionless in this hide for 14 hours, covered in mud and rotting leaves, waiting for this moment. Your Springfield M19 rifle rests perfectly steady against your shoulder. The crosshairs settle on his chest. Your finger finds the trigger. But here's what the movies don't tell you about being a sniper. This isn't heroic. This is murder with mathematical precision. You're about to kill a man who doesn't know you exist, who can't fight back, who might have children waiting for him at home. The scope brings you close enough to see his humanity before you destroy it. Welcome to the most psychologically brutal job in World War II, the sniper, where every kill is personal, every shot carries a name, and the enemy's face haunts your dreams forever. World War II transforms sniping from a specialized skill into an industrial art of killing. Unlike the static trench warfare of World War I, this conflict spans continents and climates, from the frozen forests of Finland to the scorching deserts of North Africa, from the dense jungles of the Pacific to the rubble-strewn cities of Europe. Every environment demands its own deadly expertise. The Soviets' perfect sniper warfare into a science of systematic elimination. Schools in Moscow train marksmen not just to shoot accurately, but to disappear into landscapes and emerge only long enough to kill. Soviet snipers like Vasily Zaitsev and Lyudmila Pavlichenko rack up hundreds of confirmed kills, turning precision shooting into psychological warfare that terrorizes entire German units. German snipers bring technological sophistication to the art of killing. Equipped with advanced optics and specially designed rifles, they operate as lone wolves who can stop Allied advances with single, well-placed shots. Their tactics emphasize patience and positioning, waiting hours or days for the perfect shot that eliminates key personnel and demoralizes enemy forces. American and British forces initially underestimate sniper warfare, viewing it as unsporting compared to conventional combat. But brutal experience teaches hard lessons. Single German snipers pin down entire companies for hours. Japanese snipers in the Pacific turn every advance into a deadly game of hide-and-seek among jungle foliage and coral formations. The technology evolves rapidly under combat pressure. Telescopic sights improve from crude 2 times magnification to precision 8 times scopes that bring targets into intimate detail. Rifles are modified for accuracy over range, creating weapons capable of killing at distances exceeding 1,000 yards. Ammunition becomes specialized for different targets, armor-piercing rounds for equipment, expanding bullets for personnel. But the real evolution occurs in the psychology of warfare. Snipers don't fight armies, they hunt individuals. They memorize enemy routines, study personal habits, and exploit moments of vulnerability that reveal themselves only through patient observation. A sniper might watch the same target for days, learning his patterns before taking the shot that ends a life with surgical precision. The strategic impact proves disproportionate to the numbers involved. A single sniper can paralyze enemy operations by creating uncertainty and fear. Soldiers stop moving freely, officers avoid exposed positions, and normal military activities become exercises in terror management. The psychological effect multiplies far beyond the actual casualties inflicted. This is warfare reduced to its most personal level. One human being systematically hunting another with the patience of a predator and the precision of a surgeon. Life as a sniper begins with training that transforms ordinary soldiers into human apex predators. You learn to read landscapes like tactical maps, identifying concealment opportunities that infantry would miss. Camouflage becomes an art form requiring hours of preparation to disappear into environments where any visible movement means death. Most importantly, you develop the psychological detachment necessary to kill strangers while looking directly into their faces through magnified optics. Your primary weapon varies by nationality and theater, but all share common characteristics: surgical accuracy at extended range. The German Karabiner 98K with a 6x scope can place bullets within inches of the target at 800 yards. The Soviet Mosin Nagant with PE or PU sights excels in urban warfare, where shorter ranges demand rapid target acquisition. The American Springfield M1903 A4 offers reliability in conditions that would destroy more complex systems. The scope itself becomes your window into a world of intimate violence. Through 4x or 6x magnification, you see details that haunt dreams forever. Facial expressions when targets realize they're being watched, personal photographs tucked into helmet bands, nervous habits that make individuals recognizable across hundreds of yards. The optical sight transforms distant figures into human beings with families, fears, and futures you're about to terminate. Camouflage requires obsessive attention to detail that consumes hours of preparation time. Every piece of equipment gets wrapped in cloth strips that match local vegetation. Your rifle stock receives treatment with mud, paint, and organic materials that eliminate reflective surfaces. Face paint must account for changing light conditions throughout the day. Most critically, your hide position requires construction that provides concealment while offering clear fields of fire. The hide itself becomes your temporary home for missions lasting 12 to 72 hours. German snipers excel at constructing elaborate positions that can sustain occupation for days while providing protection from counter-sniper fire. Soviet urban specialists create spider holes in rubble that offer 360-degree concealment with multiple escape routes. American snipers in the Pacific adapt to jungle environments where visibility rarely exceeds 100 yards, and every tree potentially conceals enemy marksmen. Personal discipline reaches monastic levels of self-control. You eat cold rations that don't require heating. You relieve yourself without leaving the hide position. You sleep in shifts while maintaining constant vigilance for targets of opportunity. Most challenging, you remain motionless for hours while insects crawl across your skin and weather conditions test physical endurance to breaking points. Target selection requires clinical judgment that reduces human beings to tactical priorities. Officers represent high-value targets whose elimination disrupts enemy command structures. Radio operators cutting communications between units. Machine gunners whose positions control key terrain. Each kill must advance tactical objectives rather than simply increasing body counts. The psychological isolation proves as challenging as physical demands. Snipers operate alone or in two-man teams, separated from the camaraderie that sustains conventional infantry. You become a solitary hunter whose success depends on remaining invisible to both enemies and friendlies who might compromise your position through careless movement or noise. Most disturbing is the gradual dehumanization of targets that becomes necessary for psychological survival. Enemy soldiers transform into opportunities for tactical advantage rather than human beings with intrinsic value. Death stalks snipers from directions that conventional soldiers never face. While infantrymen fight visible enemies in obvious battles, snipers face invisible hunters who study their habits with the same patience they use to study enemy targets. Every shot fired reveals your position to counter-snipers who spend entire days searching for the muzzle flash that betrays your location. Counter-sniper operations represent the deadliest threat to marksmen operating in contested areas. Enemy snipers work in teams specifically trained to hunt other snipers, using techniques that turn your own tactics against you. They study terrain features that offer good hide positions, monitor areas where sniper activity has occurred, and employ spotters who search constantly for scope glint or unnatural movement that reveals concealed positions. The psychological pressure of being hunted while hunting creates unique stress that drives some snipers to complete breakdown. You must remain motionless for hours while knowing that enemy marksmen are actively searching for you through their own scopes. Every sound could indicate approaching infantry. Every change in enemy behavior might signal that your position has been compromised. The paranoia becomes overwhelming as you realize that someone else is playing the same deadly game with your life as the target. Artillery represents an existential threat that can eliminate sniper positions without warning or defense. Forward observers learn to identify likely sniper locations and call in concentrated fire that obliterates entire areas where marksmen might be hiding. The German Nebelwerfer rocket artillery proves particularly effective against snipers because its wide area of effect compensates for imprecise target location. Soviet Katyusha rockets create saturation bombardments that make concealment irrelevant. Equipment failure can transform highly trained specialists into helpless targets within seconds. Telescopic sights fog up in humidity or crack from temperature changes, eliminating the precision advantage that keeps snipers alive. Rifle mechanisms jam from dirt, moisture, or extreme cold, leaving marksmen with useless weapons in positions where retreat is impossible. Ammunition failures cause misfires that reveal positions without neutralizing targets, creating the worst possible tactical situation. Weather becomes an active enemy that attacks through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. Rain creates scope fogging and ammunition moisture that affects ballistic performance. Snow makes camouflage ineffective while leaving tracks that reveal movement patterns. Wind alters bullet trajectories at long range, turning precision shots into complete misses that alert targets without eliminating them. Extreme temperatures cause equipment failures and physical stress that degrades marksmanship capabilities. The psychological toll of intimate killing proves more devastating than physical dangers. Unlike other soldiers who fire at distant targets or groups of enemies, snipers watch individuals through magnified optics that reveal personal details before pulling the trigger. You see facial expressions, read body language, and observe habits that make targets recognizable as individual human beings rather than anonymous enemies. Many snipers develop what psychiatrists call scope guilt, trauma specific to marksmen who kill while observing victims through optical magnification. The enhanced visibility creates emotional connections that conventional combat avoids. You remember specific targets years after the war ends. The officer who read letters from home, the sergeant who shared cigarettes with subordinates, the young soldier who looked directly at your position seconds before you fired. Sleep becomes elusive as memories accumulate of faces seen through crosshairs. Some snipers report dreams where targets speak to them, asking why they had to die. Others develop obsessive behaviors related to the victims they remember most clearly. The intimate nature of sniper killing creates psychological wounds that differ qualitatively from other forms of combat trauma. Equipment limitations force impossible choices about target priority and ammunition conservation. Snipers typically carry 20 to 30 rounds of specialized ammunition, requiring careful selection of targets that justify expenditure of irreplaceable resources. Missing a shot means losing both the target and precious ammunition that might be needed for higher priority kills. The pressure to achieve first-round hits becomes overwhelming when resupply is impossible. Environmental exposure during extended hide periods attacks physical health through mechanisms that conventional soldiers rarely experience. Remaining motionless for 12 to 48 hours causes circulation problems, muscle atrophy, and joint deterioration. Dehydration becomes critical during summer operations when movement to obtain water compromises concealment. Hypothermia threatens winter operations where heating is impossible without revealing positions. Perhaps most insidious is the gradual erosion of normal human empathy that becomes necessary for continued effectiveness. Successful snipers learn to view enemy soldiers as targets rather than people, developing emotional detachment that protects against psychological breakdown. But this numbness often proves irreversible, leaving veterans unable to form normal human relationships after the war. The isolation required for sniper operations creates social disconnection that compounds psychological stress. Extended periods alone or with minimal human contact erode the social bonds that sustain mental health. Some snipers develop paranoid tendencies that persist long after combat ends, unable to trust situations where they cannot control their environment completely. The mathematical precision required for long-range killing adds another layer of stress as snipers must account for wind speed, temperature, humidity, and target movement while making split-second decisions about human life and death. September 22, 1942, Stalingrad Factory District. You are Senior Sergeant Vasily Zaitsev, lying in the rubble of a destroyed tractor factory, engaged in the most famous sniper duel of World War II. For 3 days, you've been hunting Major Erwin König, a German sniper instructor sent specifically to eliminate you. The psychological pressure has reached breaking point. One of you will die today. König represents everything the Wehrmacht can offer: superior optics, specialized training, and years of hunting experience on the Eastern Front. He's already killed 2 Soviet snipers who tried to locate his position. Intelligence suggests he's been watching your areas of operation, learning your patterns, waiting for the shot that will end your 149 kill streak and demoralize the entire 62nd Army. The hunt began when German radio broadcasts started mentioning your name, describing your kills in detail that could only come from enemy snipers observing your work. The psychological warfare cuts both ways. Your reputation terrorizes German infantry, but it also marks you for elimination by specialists trained specifically to kill marksmen like yourself. Your position in the factory ruins offers concealment among twisted metal and concrete debris, but König has identical advantages in the devastated industrial landscape. Both of you understand that this duel will be decided by patience, positioning, and the ability to recognize the other's mistakes before making your own. One shot will end it, but first, someone must reveal their location. The cat-and-mouse game unfolds across 300 yards of rubble-strewn battlefield where every shadow might conceal death. You've identified 3 possible hide positions where König could establish effective fields of fire. He's undoubtedly done the same analysis of your terrain. The challenge becomes drawing him into making the first move without exposing yourself to counter-sniper fire. Your spotter, Nikolai Kulikov, provides extra eyes that prove critical in sniper versus sniper combat. While you focus on potential target areas through your scope, he searches for scope glint, unnatural movement, or construction disturbances that might reveal enemy positions. The teamwork gives slight advantage, but König likely operates with his own support personnel. Hour 12 of the vigil brings the first opportunity. Morning sunlight creates shadows that reveal a position previously invisible among the factory wreckage. Through your scope, you detect what might be a concealed rifle barrel or perhaps just twisted metal that resembles weapon profiles. The uncertainty creates tactical dilemma. Investigate and potentially expose yourself, or wait for clearer confirmation that might never come. The psychological pressure mounts as you realize that König is conducting identical analysis of your position. He's searching for the same telltale signs that would reveal your location. Every movement, every adjustment of your rifle, every shift in position could provide the visual cue that draws his crosshairs to your head. The mutual stalking creates a feedback loop of paranoia where both hunters become prey. Your breakthrough comes through understanding human nature rather than superior marksmanship. German snipers rely heavily on optical equipment, creating dependency on telescopic sights that proves exploitable. By positioning a helmet on a stick to simulate movement, you draw König into revealing his position when sunlight reflects off his scope lens for a split second. The reflection appears exactly where tactical analysis suggested it would, in a concealed position 280 yards away that offers perfect fields of fire across your area of operations. Through your own scope, you can see the edge of what appears to be a rifle stock and possibly part of a human silhouette. But the range and concealment make positive target identification nearly impossible. The shot requires mathematical precision under psychological pressure that would break most marksmen. Wind speed, temperature, humidity, and estimated range all factor into ballistic calculations performed while knowing that missing means immediate counterfire from a target you've revealed yourself to. Your Mosin-Nagant's trigger breaks cleanly at exactly the moment when all variables align. The 7.62mm round travels 280 yards in less than half a second, striking König in the head and ending the duel that has paralyzed both sides for 3 days. Through your scope, you watch the legendary German sniper slump forward, his rifle falling from concealment in confirmation of the kill that makes you the most famous marksman of the war. But victory brings no satisfaction, only relief that the hunter has become the hunted's victim instead. The psychological toll of killing a fellow sniper proves different from eliminating ordinary infantry. König was a professional like yourself, operating under identical pressures and facing similar psychological challenges. The duel at Stalingrad demonstrates that sniper warfare ultimately comes down to human psychology rather than superior equipment or training. The winner is determined by who can endure the mental pressure longest while maintaining the precision necessary for single-shot kills. The numbers tell a story of tactical effectiveness achieved through psychological methods that challenged conventional warfare doctrine. Elite snipers like Simo Häyhä, with 505 confirmed kills, Lyudmila Pavlichenko with 309, and Vasily Zaitsev with 242, demonstrate the strategic impact individual marksmen can achieve. But these statistics mask the human cost, both in targets eliminated and in the psychological destruction of those who achieved such numbers. Soviet sniper schools graduate over 100,000 marksmen during the war, creating the world's first systematic approach to precision killing as military doctrine. The psychological warfare component proves as important as the tactical effectiveness. Entire German units modify behavior patterns to avoid sniper fire, reducing operational effectiveness through fear of invisible hunters who can kill from concealment. American forces initially resist sniper warfare as unsporting, but combat experience forces doctrinal changes. Pacific theater operations proved that Japanese snipers can halt American advances through psychological impact that exceeds their actual casualties. By 1944, U.S. forces established formal sniper training programs that emphasize technical proficiency over the psychological conditioning that European snipers require. The long-term psychological cost among veterans exceeds anything documented in previous conflicts. "I killed 67 confirmed targets during the war," wrote former German sniper Hans Weber in 1962. "I remember every single face I saw through that scope. They visit me in dreams asking why I had to shoot them. The worst part is that I don't have good answers." Post-war studies reveal trauma patterns unique among sniper veterans. The intimate nature of scope-magnified killing creates guilt that differs from other combat experiences. Many snipers develop obsessive-compulsive behaviors related to their wartime activities. Others suffer chronic anxiety about being watched or targeted, reflecting their combat experience of being hunted while hunting others. Counter-sniper tactics evolve rapidly under combat pressure, establishing doctrinal foundations that persist in modern military training. Artillery targeting of suspected sniper positions becomes standard procedure. Smoke screens eliminate the clear sight lines that marksmen require. Most importantly, military forces develop systematic approaches to sniper detection that reduce their tactical effectiveness. The technological legacy influences modern warfare through advancement in optical systems, ballistic science, and precision rifle development. World War II sniper experiences drive post-war research into improved scopes, specialized ammunition, and camouflage techniques that become standard military equipment. The lessons learned establish marksmanship training programs that persist in contemporary military doctrine. Modern military ethics incorporate questions about sniper warfare that emerged from World War II experiences. The deliberate, premeditated nature of sniper killing raises moral questions about the difference between combat and assassination. Military chaplains develop specialized counseling techniques for marksmen whose killing methods create unique psychological burdens. Perhaps most significantly, World War II sniper warfare establishes precedents for understanding the psychological cost of intimate killing that influences contemporary military medicine. Post-traumatic stress treatment protocols specifically address sniper veterans whose trauma patterns differ from conventional combat soldiers. The strategic lesson proves enduring. Individual marksmen can achieve tactical effects far exceeding their numbers through psychological impact on enemy forces. But the human cost includes not just the targets eliminated, but the marksmen whose humanity becomes collateral damage in wars that demand systematic killing of identifiable individuals. Today's military snipers train using psychological preparation techniques developed partly from World War II veteran experiences, acknowledging that technical proficiency alone cannot prepare marksmen for the mental challenges of looking into faces before destroying them. The legacy reminds us that some military specialties exact costs that persist long after conflicts end. The next time you look through binoculars or a camera's telephoto lens, remember what it means to see a stranger's face magnified and clear. Think about young men who spent the war looking through scopes that brought enemy soldiers close enough to see their humanity before pulling triggers that ended their lives. Somewhere in small towns across the world, elderly veterans still carry notebooks with tallies they wish they could forget. Names, dates, and faces that appeared in crosshairs 80 years ago but remain vivid in dreams that never fade. They achieved tactical victories through methods that challenged everything civilized society teaches about the value of human life. The sniper's burden wasn't just carrying precision rifles and remaining invisible for days at a time. It was seeing enemies as individuals, watching their habits, learning their routines, recognizing their humanity, then killing them with premeditated precision that felt more like murder than warfare. They saved countless friendly lives by eliminating key targets with surgical accuracy. But the cost wasn't measured in ammunition expended or missions completed. It was measured in the pieces of their own souls left behind in rifle scopes that revealed too much about the people they were ordered to kill. Distance doesn't always protect the shooter.